So let's just dive right into this one. What does H-Hour need to turn itself around, short of a miracle, and become a successful game? I mean, obviously they're not going to come out and say, "Hey, we were assholes and we treated the community like shit." That's not going to happen. I think if that was going to happen, it would have already taken place. I think they're way too fucking stubborn to realize that they've burned a lot of bridges. I don't think that's going to happen. I think right now what they need to turn things around is going to come from people like Kevin and Russ and the guys that are in there in the trenches making shit happen. None of the public relations douchebags, none of the fucking people at the top, you know, nobody like Tom or anyone like that. I don't think those guys are going to make any kind of fucking difference. And if anything, I think it's probably best if they just step aside and shut the fuck up. And by shutting the fuck up, I mean the moderators just need to go away. Because even to this day, I'm checking out the H-Hour forums on Steam, and people are coming in like, yeah, and they're saying things like, this, I'm not too sure about this, and leaving some sort of criticisms, and the topics are getting locked, and people are still getting banned, and people are still being treated like shit, even now when they can't afford to do that. There's something like 20 or 30 people playing that game on like peak hours. It's just fucking pathetic. And they continue to just kick over any kind of, I don't know, anybody that comes in. They just fucking sandbag them. And it's weird because they've like put up this wall, like this defensive wall, because they've gotten a lot of shit, and rightfully so. But they've kind of walled themselves off, and it's the worst possible thing they can do. They need to be more open to allowing people in. They need to be nicer to people. But as a community, right now, the people that are playing H Hour, they're completely on the defensive, and they're really not letting anybody in, unless of course you're not saying anything negative or any kind of constructive criticism. Unless you're just like sucking everybody off, you're not gonna find a home in that game at all. Any kind of criticism is just being just you guys know how it is. It's fucking jumping on everybody. But what I think they really need, because Russ has come out with an update, and I think it was good that he came out and released this latest update, because nobody wants to fucking hear from Tom anymore. Like I said, they need to just shut the fuck up. In terms of updates, they need to get Russ and they need to get Kevin out there, engaging the community and talking to them like from the ground floor. Forget about anything above that. So Russ came out and he showed us some screenshots of a map. I'm going to go ahead and put those up now. So immediately what comes to mind when you look at this is Frostfire. It's got the silos and it's got the same like catwalk kind of feeling to it. It's got the railings. It definitely has that Frostfire feel. I know Russ said that he's been listening to the community and that he wants to make the map smaller. So this is going to be a smaller map, a lot like Frostfire. And this is based off of the Indonesian mannequin factory concept that they had going on a while back. I don't know if any of you guys remember that. It was a while ago, I think, when we seen anything from it. But he also said they want to have weather effects, and that's cool. But at the same time, I'm thinking we really need to get some voice chat into the game, and the guns have to actually fire properly. The mechanics, like everything that makes a game needs to be put in before you start putting weather effects into the game. Wind and rain, that shit's cool, you know what I mean? It's more immersive, but your game has to function before you start thinking about adding that shit in there. So, I don't know. I mean, it's interesting to me. I definitely like the concept of it. It looks good. Now, breach is something that was also mentioned, being able to breach in and get through shortcuts and stuff to extracting hostages. So this is something I think they've talked about for a while, but honestly, guys, I kind of turned my back, like almost 100% on H Hour, and I don't forgive them for what they did. I did say I wasn't gonna cover it anymore, and I was done, which makes me, seem like I can't fucking keep to my own word. But it's really hard not to cover things as they go along. So I think I will continue to cover the game, but my optimism is just really low. My standards, like, have just been lowered, you know? And I don't even think I'll ever play the game. They really have to do like a 180 here, man. They have to come out with something just absolutely amazing before I even consider putting any money down on it. I still think it costs too much money. I think they released it too fucking early, and I'm never gonna go back on that. You know, I don't think I was treated properly with the proper amount of respect. I never said anything nasty. All I did was leave my criticisms, and people dove all over me because, like I said, they've created this wall around their community, and if you're not one of them, you're the enemy, and they will fucking attack you. And one of the guys over at TRS made a good point when he was talking to somebody else who really hasn't been on either side. This guy's kind of been in the middle. He said, you know, they're not going to listen to anything we have to say because we have been colored the enemy. And that's just the way it is. Nobody's going to listen to me. They know I'm part of the real SOCOM. I'm the enemy, and they don't give a fuck what I have to say. And that's just the way it is. You know, the line has been drawn in the sand. I'm obviously a member of TRS. I'm the bad guy. So say goodnight to the fucking bad guy, right? I mean, I feel like fucking Scarface. It's pathetic if you think about it. The way that the community's been divided, it really is childish. But that's just the fucking way it is. I've chosen my side, and it's a no-brainer. You know, it's just I'm gonna go where the original SOCOMers are. TRS has been around for a long time. I've been there for about 3 years, I'd say now. I mean, you can say you're not choosing sides in a war, but you're gonna fall on one side or the other. Maybe you're the civilian that just gets fucking nuked and you didn't want to choose sides, but hey, guess what? Too fucking late. Tough luck. That's just the way it is, you know? But regardless of what side I happen to fall on, I still have a mind of my own. There's a lot of guys at TRS are just looking at this like, yeah, it looks fucking retarded. Some guys are saying, hey, it looks great. Other guys are saying this looks ridiculous and it's really easy to do. Making maps is easy. And I have to agree, it is pretty simple to make maps. But Russ happens to be good at it. And I think that he's always been good at it. I haven't played either of the maps because, you know, I haven't fucking played H-Hour. Because I refuse to put $25 on that shit. It's not worth $25. I'm not going to give them that money until I hear from other people, hey, this is pretty good. It's starting to be worth your money now. That's when I'll jump on board and I'll try it out. But even then, the way the community is, as soon as people see my name, there's gonna be just gonna be a fucking shitstorm. They're not gonna be very welcoming, and I really don't fucking care. But that's just the way it is. I've made enemies over there, and that's something that I've heard people have been banned from the game just based on association with TRS. I don't know if that's true, but judging by the way the fucking moderators are, imagine spending $25 on the game and then they see your name and they're like, oh yeah, you're fucking done. Because I do remember being threatened by a moderator. I'm not even gonna go back and look at what he said. It's in one of my videos where he's like, oh well, you're not gonna be able to play or some shit like that. Where it has me thinking as soon as I enter the game, they're gonna fucking see me and then just ban me outright. Like, haha, you know. And with my luck, I'll have like 3 hours gameplay in or something, and I can't get a refund. That's something that would really fucking piss me off. But at any rate, I know I'm getting off track here. If this game is going to be successful, the community needs to be more open and kind of stop being defensive, and that's kind of hard to do, especially considering just the way things are right now. I think that's a key component. They need to be more welcoming to people. You know, if someone drops in and says, hey, you know, I really don't fucking like the way this is working, they shouldn't get dived on, or dove on, rather. There shouldn't be a bunch of people saying, well, it's fucking early access, douchebag, and then locking the thread. You don't do that. That is really fucking stupid. That needs to stop. But most importantly, what needs to happen is they got about a month before they launch this. They need to be like knuckled down right now. The only thing that's going to carry this is the passion of the guys that are working on it. Russ and Kevin and anybody else who happens to be working on it. They really have to be pouring themselves into this. They have to fix the gun mechanics. They have to fix several things that people have been complaining about, and they need to get it all fixed in one big patch at the same time that this map comes out, because people are going to come back and check out this map. That's just the way it is. People have already bought the game, and luckily for SOF, when most of the sales were happening, the Steam refund thing, it wasn't out yet, so they can't refund it. So they're probably going to come back and check out the map. If they want them to stay and not just check out the map and leave, then they have to have the mechanics down. But that really has to happen. They have to have all their eggs pretty much in one basket for a second shot. And somebody had brought up Confrontation on the forums, saying, Confrontation was a pretty decent game some months later once they fixed all the problems with it, but it was already too late. And it's probably already too late for H Hour. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I think they really did a lot of damage, and that's really unfortunate. But I think the damage has kind of been done. And I remember playing Confrontation like a month before it shut down. I hadn't played it at all, and I was playing it and I was thinking, this is actually a pretty damn good game. I didn't like the run button, and there were certain things that got on my nerves about it, but it felt really good. There weren't as many maps as I would like there to be and shit like that. And there was just a few minor complaints, like not being able to shoot over the railing in Frostfire, and throwing grenades was a fucking mess. But all in all, I had fun with it, and I wish that game was still around today, because I would be playing it, because I think it would be the best SOCOM experience available right now. And I remember hearing that Sony didn't give them a lot of funding, and I remember hearing that the game was kind of rushed along, and that happens. And then I take a look at H Hour, and it looks like the same kind of things going on. They didn't have a lot of funding to begin with, and they didn't, the way they did the Kickstarter was pretty fucking stupid. We're going to take this money, and then somebody's going to invest. They should have just went straight to the ground floor as soon as they got their money and started making it. Forget the proof of concept shit. That's where I think things got all fucked up. And not only that, but it wasn't ready to release on early access. Now, you might be saying, well, they needed money. They couldn't continue to make it without the money to carry it forward. Well, it is kind of like a situation where they're damned if they do and they're damned if they don't. By that point, I think it was already too late, because they had to release something. They didn't have any money coming in. So they released a game that was a fucking mess. It has barely sold anything. It's not doing good at all. People have walked away, man, and there's not a lot of people there. But maybe by some small miracle they can get their shit together and people might start coming back in. The one thing I would say they do have on their side, obviously besides Russ and Kevin, is that this is an early access game, and it's not an official release like Confrontation was. Once you released the game back then, you really had to have your shit together. Now people are a little bit more forgiving. As time goes on, they can say, well, the game has gotten better, and it can pick up more. It can pick up more sales. It really can. But it's up to them. If they're not pouring their hearts into it, working their balls off, you know, and not just saying, well, we did the best we could, and we'll just patch a few things here and there. They gotta be balls to the wall right now over there, man. And if they're not, then it's over. It's over. Because people are not going to play a game where the shooting mechanics don't even work and your game happens to be a fucking shooter. Another thing I didn't mention about the map is they said there's going to be tunnels and stuff like that, and there's going to be vantage points for snipers. You can see definitely there's going to be people that are going to be able to pick you off from the top. But you can see also right here in this shot, it looks like you can go down underneath the map a little bit. That's very Frostfire-ish, if you will. I always liked that about Frostfire. You had areas where you could get up a little high, and then you had areas where you could go completely under the map and pop out at the other side. I always liked that. And this map, it looks like it's got a lot of promise to it. It looks like it could be the best map yet. But if the mechanics aren't there, nobody's going to play it. People are going to leave, and H Hour is just going to continue to be a failure. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to wrap this up. I ask you guys to please leave a like if you like this video. Like I said, I am going to be making more H-hour videos. They're not going to be as enthusiastic as you remember from like a year ago, so don't expect me to come out and be like, oh, this is the best thing ever. I'm taking everything with like a grain of salt here. And yeah, my hopes for the game are not very high at all. But I thank you guys for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.